welcome to LSB Feaster's radio channel and travel corner. Today, it's back to Philadelphia with Dr. Don Rose on famous 56 WFIL. If you're not familiar with WFIL, it was a Philadelphia powerhouse. I mean, this station was huge from the mid-60s right into the 70s. If you walked around Philly, you heard WFIL everywhere. It cranked out the hits, and the WFIL boss jocks were everywhere. It seemed like no matter where you went in Philly, they were at parades, they were at ribbon cuttings, they were at sporting events, and of course at every WFIL event they were there. Some of these names are legendary in Philly, like Jim O'Brien, Long John Wade, George Michael, and our featured DJ today, Dr. Don Rose. Dr. Don was Philly's morning guy for many years. Very popular. Dr. Don, along with his sidekick cow, Lulabelle, woke up Philadelphia with one of the best morning shows in town. It was so much fun. Growing up in Philadelphia, I would listen to Dr. Don every morning. And then when I got to school, it must have been in about fourth grade or so, I would get together with all my friends and we would tell the jokes back and forth that Dr. Don told on the radio. Some of them went clear over our heads, and I didn't even get them till many years later. He was that good. Anyway, one day, he was gone. Philadelphia's loss was San Francisco and KFRC's gain. But he was a big deal in Philly. Give him a listen. If you like the air check, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe. And if you do subscribe, smack that bell. And then you'll get updates whenever we put something new up. So if you're ready, let's go back in time to the 1970s with Dr. Donald D. Rose on famous 56 WFIL Philadelphia. Another horrible imitation.
WFIL Philadelphia is together.
Hey girl, I met you.
Yeah, that's my profession, friends. The rapper. I'm the guy that talks until I give you a headache and then I sell you a bottle of aspirin. You've probably seen my latest picture, currently playing on a bottle of iodine. Everybody says I'm a beautiful person inside. Leave it to me to be born inside out.
Hey, Dr. Don Rose. Famous 56 WFIL. Now.
7:33. Much more music. WFIL with their fuddy-duddy buddy here. And a fair and mild day here. And a high of about 48. That's a little later on. Low tonight 34. Winds at 10 miles per hour this morning. The temperature in at 29 degrees.
I love the days are colder.
Winter world of love. Before long, you'll be ready to spring at somebody. And summer with somebody and then fall for somebody. Okay, 7:36 at WFIL. Good morning. Feed time, slow stuff. A disabled vehicle approaching eastbound on the expressway east of Belmont's where it is. And the remainder of the expressway running normally. Heavy traffic, all the usual slow spots are going or have gone into effect. There's nothing critical except the motor's usual Girard Avenue backup southbound on 95. No delays or restrictions on the Pike Fire Clip 4700 north of 11.
Yeah, come on in now. Come right on down front. Do the fucking chicken now. Do the fucking chicken now.
Do the funky chicken. Like it already. Dr. Don in the morning time, 7:39. 21 minutes to 8 o'clock, and if nobody said it to you, may I be the very first. Good morning.
Walk right in, feel at home. Giggles is the place to shine.
That's a long time.
Take advantage of your borrowing power at Domestic Finance. Anytime you need the money, just see the white pages for the office that you prefer. As a matter of fact, later on today, I have an appointment in front of the people from the United Fund. We're trying to get them to include in their campaign this year the one greatest crippler of them all, time payments. Actually, my wife has the same attitude towards life that the government has. She never lets being in debt keep her from spending more. How often do you find yourself saying, if I just had a better memory? Or how can he solve problems so quickly? Or how can she be so creative? Well, you probably wouldn't ask those questions if your parents had taken you to the Discovery Center. Memory, problem solving, creativity. These are just a few of the 43 basic skills preschoolers learn at the Discovery Center. You know, preschoolers have a genius for learning and developing those skills. And by 7, that genius disappears. So if you treat that preschooler to a do-it-yourself project, your child can go through life with unrealized abilities. Take that 3 to 6-year-old to the Discovery Center. Enroll now. The first week's program is free. See the Discovery Center, Cedarbrook Mall at Cheltenham and Easton Roads at Wyncote. That's Cedarbrook Mall at Wyncote. Phone 887-8680. That's 887-8680. Brought to you by Universal Education Corporation. DDR in the morning time at 7:42.
Game of give and take. Starting soon on WFIL.
When you're weary. We are not against Monsieur Pompidou, but we are for justice.
This voice makes WFIL news. Alan Stone, WFIL News. Dr. Donald D. Rose, WFIL Music.
Here they come again.
Catches if you can, and I think you can. My boss told me yesterday he'd like to compliment me on my work, and he wants to know when I'm going to give him the chance. My job has one advantage. We have a good pension plan, and besides that, working here ages you more quickly.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go. Everything's waiting for you.
Uptown, all around town, DDR, covering the world from Philadelphia, friends. For instance, George Wallace was quoted from Mobile as doing some soul searching about whether or not to run for governor of Alabama. The NAACP suggests he find a different word to use than soul. A conspiracy of disabled vehicles and glaring sunlight has set traffic to crawling eastbound on the expressway from Conshohocken through City Avenue. It's kind of tough out there. Drive carefully. Slow from Girard through 30th, southbound Roosevelt. At Masher, a disabled tractor trailer. Eastbound on the Penrose Avenue, jammed from the airport circle to 26th. Other main roads are reported clear. No delays on the pikes. The suburbs are heavy and smooth and a little bit sleepy. Aren't we all, friends, to the morning time? Dr. Donald D. Rose and the Temptations.
Let me tell you about a place I know. Oh, yeah.
Psychedelic Shack. I guess I could describe my home that way, Psychedelic Shack. Yesterday, I kissed my wife and said, take a letter, please. I've never kept any secrets from my wife. Lord knows I've tried. The only thing my wife can't figure out my next move is when I'm dancing with her, friends. 7:57, it's 3 minutes to 8 o'clock.
Raindrops are falling on my head.
WFIL. Philadelphia is together.
In the town where I was born, lived a man, a yellow submarine.
We all live in a yellow submarine. And you know what happens when you cross a movie with a swimming pool? You get a dive-in theater. And those are the Beatles right there. And you know what happens if you cross the Beatles and the Trash Men? You get litter bugs.
Dr. Don Rose. WFIL. Another hour of music power.
Well, believe you me, there's nothing like a good introduction. And that was nothing like a good introduction. The Don Rose Show from WFIL will be broadcast overseas to the armed forces, whether they like it or not. This is war. 803 at WFIL. Thank you, and I feel good. It's going to be a great day, friends. 805 at WFIL. Washington's birthday over the weekend, and gee whiz, took the whole family and Grandma and Grandpa visiting from Nebraska. We went all up through, up Route 29 in Jersey, through Washington Crossing State Park, saw some historical and hysterical things, and we finally ended up in New Hope, Pennsylvania. And, you know, you can get all kinds of things there because they have art and they have antiques and things like that. I don't know much about art, but we picked up a Rembrandt around for just $400 there. One of the few he ever did in ballpoint.
Move over, little economy cars. Here comes Duster.
Use your borrowing power at any of the 13 domestic finance offices in the Philadelphia area. See the white pages for the one that you prefer. And let's face it, about all you can do on a shoestring these days is trip. You think it's tough supporting a wife? Well, you just try not supporting her sometime. It's 8:07.
When he opens the door, says I'm home.
That is Bobby Martin. She does good work. 8:10 at WFIL with Funny Daddy Dr. Don in the morning time. And the star of the program, eastbound traffic on the expressway, which is completely stalled. It is stopped, friends. Glavin through City Avenue, heavy again from Girard through 30th. Eastbound on East River Drive, it is quite sluggish. Traffic backed up on Ridge and Wissahickon Avenues. Eastbound jammed on Penrose Avenue. And from the Airport Circle to 26th Street. Southbound Roosevelt Boulevard at Masher, a disabled truck. Southbound 95, the customary backup at Girard. Nothing special on the Pikes or suburbs at this time. I was reading the accident reports over the weekend, and did you realize that this industry has the greatest turnover of them all?
Make the 3-ring sign and ask the man for Valentine Premium Lager Beer.
And if you're looking for something to think about while you're downing that Valentine's this morning, she was young, and she was beautiful, and her measurements were 35, 23, 34. Sounds familiar. So when Surrey Marsh, a Playboy bunny, was asked if she'd like to become a Playboy playmate, she said yes. At least I think that's what she said yes to. And she became the girl in the centerfold, which is the title of a brand new book now appearing in the Philadelphia Daily News. It's Surrey's own story of what it's really like to be a Playboy sex symbol, and she describes how it feels to pose nude before the cameras. I wonder how many goosebumps that makes, and what happens during visits to Playboy publisher Hugh Heffer's palatial pad. This is the inside story of what happens when you're one of the most looked at girls in America. The girl in the centerfold with that staple in her poor little navel. A Playboy Playmate's own story. And it's appearing now in the Philadelphia Daily News. Once you pick it up, you just can't put it down. I always figured that, that they used the same body and just changed heads for the girls.
I gave my heart and soul to you,
We're having a statewide tax protest rally in the Eisenhower School in West Berlin.
This voice makes WFIL. Alan Stone, WFIL News. Dr. Donald D. Rose, WFIL Music.
Watch your back. The Jackson 5 at WFIL. Let's face it, many a girl marries a night owl hoping she can change him into a homing pigeon. It's 8:22 at WFIL. Listen, if all else fails, use the patented Dr. Don Rose system. It works 72% of the time in last count. Stop that gal in the street and say, "Pardon me, I'm writing a telephone book and I'd like to get your number, please."
Who needs another TV set?
Hi, Daddy. I want
Take advantage of your borrowing power at Domestic Finance anytime you need money. See the white pages for the office that you prefer. I only have one ambition in life. I want to be that guy Cash that everybody makes checks out to. Eastbound expressway sluggish from Gladwin Ardmore through City Avenue. Slow again from Girard through 30th. Eastbound at Girard, report of a disabled tractor trailer. Southbound on 95, backed way up, approaching Girard. Southbound south of Aramingo, a disabled vehicle. Congestion at 16th and Vine. Northbound Roosevelt Boulevard at Fox, debris on the highway. Southbound at Masher, a disabled truck. And a disabled bus 300 North Broad. On the show that asks the question, do you ever notice how many girls wait until the kiss is over before they slap the guy's face? 8:27 at Boss Radio. Work, work, work. I'm too heavy for light work and too light for heavy work, so here I am. Fair and wild today with a high of 4.